Hello everyone and welcome to this month's Poetry, Tea and Chat. My name is Jess and I'm one of the librarians here at Devises Library. First of all, I thought I would have a little bit of tea, as that's why we're here. Last time on Tea and Chat I was asked whether or not I was really drinking tea, and I can assure you I absolutely am. I can't quite tip it towards you to prove that there is tea in the mug, but it's very warm on a day like today, but I'm still drinking tea. I hope you're well and are managing to stay cool. I must admit I am here with the shades as drawn as much as I can, trying to keep the sun out. So, what have you been reading since we last met? I must admit my book pile never ever seems to go down, but maybe that's a librarian thing. But I thought I'd share a couple of books that I've been reading with you over the last couple of months. Firstly, this one. This is The Paper Palace by Miranda Cowley-Heller. Can I just admit first of all that I didn't plan this in any way, shape or form. It's set in a hot spell in August at a summer camp in Cape Cod. The story is set over 24 hours and 50 years, and through flashbacks, family secrets and lies are revealed in a really well-paced way, enough to reveal, enough to keep you engrossed right until the very end. And a long time ago, when I was about 10, I was in America and visited the lakes, not necessarily Cape Cod, but I can completely relate to what this character talks about. I spent most of my time in the water because it was so warm, and I could so remember the smell of the pines and my time in the water, the silky coolness and loveliness. So I would thoroughly recommend this one. That is The Paper Palace by Miranda Cowley-Heller. The second book I'd like to recommend, or talk about anyway, is something completely different. This is Saving Time by Jodie Taylor. It's part of a series of books about an organisation, a very suspicious organisation called the Time Police. And I will admit that I haven't quite finished this one, but I'm nearly at the end. The Time Police are based in this building here, which you will spot does look a lot like Battersea Power Station, and that's completely what it is. And it follows a group of misfits, lovingly called Team Weird. So part comedy, part science fiction. Team Weird jump up and down through time to protect the timeline from those who might break it and cause things like paradox. The word paradox comes up a lot in this book. It's light, it's fast paced, and I must admit I know a lot more about history having read it. An August midnight. Some of it is planned, I would say, my theme for today. It is a weird and wonderful way that we'll be going while we're together this time. But bear with me. This is a wonderful poem, like I say. An August Midnight by Thomas Hardy. A shaded lamp and a waving blind and the beat of a clock. Sorry about that, something just popped up. A shaded lamp and a waving blind and the beat of a clock from a distant floor. On this scene enter a winged, horned and spined, a Longlegs, a moth and a Dumbledore. While mid my page there idly stands a sleepy fly that rubs its hands. Thus meet we five in this still place, at this point of time, at this point in space. My guests besmear my new penned line, or bang at a lamp and fall supine. God's humblest they I muse, yet why they know earth's secrets that know not I. So that was An August Midnight by Thomas Hardy, and I love the use of the word Dumbledore, which is a Dorset word for a bumblebee, and of course we've got the wonderful Harry Potter and Dumbledore in Harry Potter. And for those of you who haven't seen my mug, I don't know if I can move it closely enough, it is actually Harry Potter themed. I will just move that out of the way and drink some more tea. Cheers. Right, so So that was Thomas Hardy. As we move on from Thomas Hardy, we're going to go to Christina Rossetti and a poem called The Rose. Now, I do just about still have a couple of roses flowering in my garden. Not many they are. I am desperately trying to keep them alive by watering them as much as possible, but usually at midnight, on an August midnight, frankly. But they are still just about hanging on. But this is a lovely poem by Christina Rossetti called The Rose. O Rose, thou art the flower of flowers, thou fragrant wonder. Who shall describe thee in thy ruddy prime? Thy perfect fullness in the summer time, when the pale leaves blushingly part asunder, and show the warm red heart lies glowing under. Thou shouldst bloom surely in some sunny clime, untouched by blights and chilly winter's rime, where lightnings never flash, nor peals of thunder, and yet in happier spheres they cannot need thee so much as we do with our weight of woe. Perhaps they would not tend, perhaps not heed thee, as thou wouldst lonely and neglected grow. And yet he who is all wise hath decreed thee to gladden earth and cheer all hearts below. Christina Rossetti and The Rose. Talking of roses, the next poem, I've got a kind of anthology of poems which has a poem every day of the year, and this particular poem is from my birthday, and my birthday is in August, so I thought I would read this one to you. It is called The Things That Grow by Lawrence Binyon, and basically it's about my garden, because I do have a larger and larger patch of weeds that are sort of creeping toward ever closer towards the house, things like ground elder and bindweed and other such wonders. So yeah, basically this is a poem about my garden. The Things That Grow. It was nothing but a little neglected garden, laurel screened and hushed in a hot stillness. An old pear tree and flowers mingled with weeds. Yet as I came to it all unawares, it seemed charged with mystery, and I stopped, intruding, fearful of hurting that so absorbed stillness. For I was tingling with the wind's salty splendour, and still my senses moved with the keel's buoyance out on the wave, where strong light was shivered into a dance dazzling as drops of flame. The rocking radiance and the winged sails lifting, and the noise of the rush of the water left behind, sang to my body of movement, victory, joy. But here the light was asleep, and green, green, in veined leaf it glowed amongst the shadows. A hollyhock rose to the sun and bathed its flowers, luminously clustered in the unmoving air. A butterfly lazily winked its gorgeous wings, marigolds burned intently amid the grass. The ripening pears hung each with a rounded shadow. All beyond was drowned in the indolent blueness, and at my feet, like the word of an unknown tongue, was the midnight dark bloom of the delicate pansy. Suddenly, these things awed my heart, as if here in perishing blossom and springing shoot were a power greater than the shipwrecking winds and all the wild waters. Isn't that lovely? I'd love my garden to be by the sea, but I'm in a landlocked county, so I think that's highly unlikely. But that was The Things That Grow by Lawrence Binyon. Our next poem is by Hartley Coleridge, and I think that's something probably we're all hoping for a little bit of. This is Summer Rain. Thick lay the dust, uncomfortably white, in glaring mimicry of Arab sands. The woods and mountains slept in hazy light. The meadows looked athirst and tawny tanned. The little rills had left their channels bare, with scarce a pool to witness where they were, and the shrunk river gleamed mid oozy stones that stared like any famished giant's bones. Suddenly the hills grew black and hot as stove. The air beneath was a toil to be. There was a growling as of angry Jove, provoked by Juno's prying jealousy. A flash, a crack, the firmament was split, and down it came in drops, the smallest fit, to drown a bee in a foxglove bell concealed. Joy filled the brook, and comfort cheered the field. Summer Rain, which I hope we will get sometime soon, by Hartley Coleridge. I promised you a little bit of Matthew Arnold to be precise, and so the next poem I'm going to read you is probably one of my favourites, called Dover Beach. I think with all this sort of hot sunny weather, I'm very much looking forward to going to the coast, and although we're probably not going to Dover, I can't wait to have a paddle and a swim in the sea. So this is Matthew Arnold and Dover Beach. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair. Upon the straits, on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where sea meets the moon-blanched land. Listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return upon the high strand. Begin and cease, and then again begin with tremulence cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound of thought, hearing it by the distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once at the full, rounded earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled, but now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain, and we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms and struggles and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. Time for a little bit more tea, if you will bear with me just a second. Thank you. Now for something completely different. I stumbled across this very, very, very short poem written by W.B. Yeats, and it's all about a squirrel, which does sound a little bit surreal after the magnitude and wondrousness of Dover Beach. But, you know, yeah, all poetry is good. All poetry is welcome. So this is called To a Squirrel at Kyle Nanu. Now, I've no idea if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it, by W.B. Yeats. Come, play with me. Why should you run through the shaking tree as though I'd a gun to strike you dead, when all I would do is scratch your head and let you go? I did say it was short and sweet, didn't I? W.B. Yeats and To a Squirrel at Kyle Nanu. So I thought I'd include a tiny little bit of love poetry. We had The Wonderful Rose earlier by Christina Rossetti, and I thought I'd read you one of my favourite Elizabeth Barrett Browning poems, which is very famous, I'm sure you'll know it. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candle light. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. I love thee purely, as they turn from praise. I love thee with a passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles and tears of all my life, and if God chose, I shall love thee better after death. The wonderful Elizabeth Barrett Browning. My next poem is something that you might know quite well. It's called The Cradle Song rather than poem, and it is actually probably best known as a song. It's written by Thomas Dekker and was part of a play called Grizzle, which was co-authored by a couple of other people and published in 1603. So it was originally set to music in 1918, And Paul McCartney is said to have seen the sheet music at the family piano at home that his stepsister was trying to learn how to play. Inspired by the words but unable to read the music, he created a different melody and wrote the Beatles song Golden Slumbers. But this is Cradle Song by Thomas Dekker, so you might recognise it. Few other words, different words. Golden slumbers kiss your eyes, smiles awake you when you rise. Sleep, pretty wantons, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Rock them, lullaby. Care is heavy, therefore sleep you. You are care, and care must keep you. Sleep, pretty wantons, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Rock them, lullaby. So now I've lulled you to sleep with the Cradle Song by Thomas Dekker. I think I will try and wake you up with a little bit of The Promised Shakespeare. This is, I want to say sonnet 144, I think, but I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of the very famous ones. Unfortunately, I think if you watched last time in May, I do know one sonnet off by heart. This isn't the one I know off by heart, so I will have to read this one. I'm sorry. I will try and do it by rote if I can, but that way mistakes might happen. But yeah, William Shakespeare. Let me not the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth unknown, though its heights be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never it, nor no man ever loved. One of my favourite instruments, I think, probably is the piano, and I'm very, very jealous of anybody who is talented enough to read the piano, to be able to play the piano. This will probably be my last poem, so I'll read it very quickly because my time is very nearly up. This is the wonderful D.H. Lawrence, and there is something magical about how music can transport you, just like smell or even touch can suddenly transport you to a childhood memory, I think something you'd even can't remember that you'd forgotten even. This is the wonderful piano, and I hope you enjoy my last poem. Softly, in the dusk, a woman is singing to me, taking me back down the vista of years, till I see a child sitting under the piano, in the boom of the tingling strings, and pressing the small poised feet of a mother who smiles while she sings. In spite of myself, the insidious mastery of song betrays me back till the heart of me weeps to belong to the old Sunday evenings at home, with winter outside, and hymns in the cosy parlour, the tinkling piano our guide. So now it is vain for the singer to burst into clamour, with great black piano appassionato. The glamour of childish days is upon me, my manhood is cast, down the flood of remembrance I weep like a child for the past. That was the wonderful D.H. Lawrence and the piano. I hope you've enjoyed Poetry Tea and Chat this month. Our next Poetry Tea and Chat will be with Philip on Tuesday the 13th of September at 3 o'clock on the Salisbury Library Facebook page. Stay cool, stay well. I'm hoping this weather will break nice and soon, and I hope to see you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.